Joining me now is Paula Jean Swearingen. She is a U.S. Senate candidate for West Virginia, a progressive, joining us to tell us about her campaign. Paula Jean, thank you so much for joining us.
Hey, Ben, thank you for having me. It's always great to be on TYT.
It's our pleasure, genuinely. There's a lot happening across the country. There's a lot happening specifically in context of the establishment versus progressives. And so before we get into your platform and all the details, tell us about what your thoughts are. The presidential campaign, the establishment versus the progressive movements. What's on your mind in that regard?
Well, I think we're at a pivotal time in this country and people are really waking up to the political dynamic about what's going on. We have seen national movements of ordinary candidates like myself that are progressive, that have run with a slate of candidates like brand new Congress. But here in West Virginia too, we have had the West Virginia Can't Wait movement, where we had over 93 candidates to run for office in 2020. 43 of those candidates won their primaries. Every single one of them are not taking corporate PAC dollars. And we made history here in West Virginia since 100 years since women's been voting. Every Democratic nominee for Congress for the first, second, in the United States, we all are progressive women, and none of us are taking corporate and corporate PAC dollars. So we are making, West Virginia is always called red, but every Democratic nominee is progressive and we are women.
And I love that because it shows literally the progress that's being made despite all of the efforts of the establishment to control the progressive movement. Your platform is extremely progressive. Economic diversity, you're looking to new infrastructure for new industry, clean water for everyone, public education. You know your platform. I don't have to list it out. Tell us about what you feel are the most progressive parts of your platform.
Well, if I do go to the United States Senate, the first thing I do would be co-sponsor Medicare for all. It's vitally important for the people in West Virginia to have health care. Most of the people in West Virginia on Medicare and Medicaid already. And when we tie economic diversity and we're dealing with one of the largest addiction epidemics in the country, we lead in drug overdose deaths right now. So Medicare for all would help us greatly, as well as helping small businesses. It would take away the burden of them having to pay high premiums for their employees, and they could take that money and put that back into their business. Of course, economic diversity, especially in a state like mine, and helping people across the country. We know that the Industrial Revolution was built on the backs of Appalachians, and the industry's gotten rich and left us breadcrumbs. And it's past time that West Virginia gets to grow for a change. And it's really important to me that we do have long-term solutions for the addiction epidemic. Like I said, we are dealing with one of the largest addiction crises in the country. And we need people that are not going to just be visionaries to drug replacement therapy, which plays a small role in combating addiction, but putting federal and state funds into states like ours, invest in long-term recovery solutions, as well as making sure that people have a good path to be strong parts of society and that be part of their recovery systems. There's so many things, but to me, progressive means progress. Right. I think we need to get past dividing labels, because at the end of the day, we all just want basic human rights. This is one of the richest countries in the world, and there's no reason that we can't be decent to the people in America. It not only makes moral sense, but it makes economic sense, because happier and healthier people and more productive people, we have to get past partisan politics, and we have to reach each other. And my hashtag is Unite Our Fight. I've been working in my state for years, trying to bring people together, because if you sit down and have the conversations about what our needs are, it's not about partisan politics. It's about people surviving. I live in one of the most sickest and poorest states in the nation. And if I ask my neighbor, he doesn't ask me if I'm a Democrat or Republican. He comes over and he helps me and brings that wrench. So this is about the people across America, the working class standing up and making sure that we have true representation for a change. We don't need no more people like my opponent, Shelley Moore Capito, that's going to stand up for corporations and lobbyists and not do her job. She was the first woman to be elected to the United States Senate to represent the state of West Virginia. She's a mother and grandmother like myself. She has done nothing for us, absolutely nothing. She's even tried to vote against equal pay for women at least 3 times and privatize Medicare and turned it into a voucher program.
Well, let me ask you. Let me jump in there. Let me jump in there and ask a question there, because I think that's important. You're putting a lot of emphasis on the fact that that partisan divides are what's blocking us. But like you said, West Virginia is red. It's considered red. There still seem to be a lot of people who vote against their economic best interests. How do you get beyond that? Because there is a political divide there. Is it resonating, and is there something unique about your message that cuts through the politics that are saturating the state now?
Well, we have more Democrats than registered in this state and independents than we do Republicans. And we have seen an uprising in our state, in 2018 with the teacher strike, and now with the candidates that have run for office. We're tired of voting. We're tired of the lesser of two evils. It's not that we vote against our best interests. We have poor choices. That's why we have so many West Virginians rising up and running for office.
That's powerful. And the uprising, the teacher protests that sparked off in 2018 really did kind of set a trend across the country. Do you feel that energy is still there, and is it something that you're able to galvanize in your campaign?
Absolutely. My opponent's approval rating's down. She's not very well liked in this state, and it's not, like I said, it's not about Republican, Democrat, Independent, Green Party. This is about people literally dying in West Virginia and across the country. Nobody should have to work 2 and 3 jobs and not even be able to pay their rent or afford health care. Essential workers should be able to afford food, rent, and basic needs for survival. And we don't have a plan B here in West Virginia. And like I said, we are rising up. And I hope, that we have kind of laid the platform for cultural genocide, and it's time for West Virginia to rise up and show that we can show the rest of America that it can happen, because we are not red, we're not blue, we're West Virginians. We're some of the most hospitable people in the world, and at the end of the day, we take care of each other. We see it across the front lines of our communities we just need true representation for a change.
Is that a message that just kind of getting to the messaging part of your campaign, because you've mentioned several times that it's not red, it's not blue, and every state is different. Is that a message that you feel obviously transcends more so? Do West Virginians not want to hear about who's Republican and who's Democrat, or is it they don't want to hear about who's Democrat? Like I feel like there's really something there, because despite the desire to get beyond partisan politics, West Virginia still continues to vote in a direction that is detrimental to them. And this is not to slam on West Virginians at all. It just means that they're looking for something different, and you feel like you're the person offering that. Talk about that a little bit.
Well, we have been bid against each other for basic human rights, and we have fallen short with a lot of propaganda. And that's true, and that's true for a lot of people across the country. Senator Sanders won all 55 counties in the 2016 primary. Our superdelegates voted against the will of the people, and to me, I think that was a demotivator for people to go out to the polls. We have to get people out to the polls. It's not that we're voting against our best interest. It seems like, the working class is not showing up, and the poor, because they don't feel like they're served. And that's why you see an uprising of ordinary West Virginians running for office, is because we want true representation. But I don't think that's only true here in West Virginia, because I've seen it across the country, even with brand new Congress and other candidates like myself. Missouri is a prime example of that, with Cori Bush just winning her primary. She's going to be our next Congresswoman. It's just, we all have to continue to fight and work together and make sure that we run for office, we vote, and we continue to hold these people accountable.
Paula Jean, I really do appreciate how you made that distinction, and it was there was something that I felt was there, but you just brought it out, that it's not that they're voting against their own best interests, it's that a lot of working class people have become disillusioned with the entire system and that they're not voting at all. We only have a few more seconds left, but could you just elucidate that just a little bit more for the viewers?
Well, yeah, we just have to continue. And right now, even with the presidential election, we're divided. And no matter who our president is, we still need local representation, and we need a good, strong Congress, and especially the Senate. We have to flip the Senate blue, and but we also have to have true representation. Yeah. So we are even now, we are approaching our end of quarter fundraising, and we need to raise $9,000 by midnight. So if anybody wants to help and make sure that we have a true voice in Washington, go to paulagene.com. But yeah, that's just the thing. We have to make sure that we have true representation. This ain't about red or blue. This is from the bottom up and making sure that the people in government deserve them for a change.
Absolutely. Paulagene Swearingen, she is a U.S. Senate candidate for West Virginia, a progressive fighting for economic diversity, Medicare for all, fighting for the working class. Paulagene, could you give them your website one more time really quickly?
paulagene.com.
Thank you so much for joining us, Paula.
2 easy ways to follow the Young Turks. One is hit the subscribe button down below, then you're a TYT subscriber. And second is ring the bell. And when you do that on YouTube, you're notified of our videos.